town like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down. Can't be afraid to leave this out. We got this far, don't know how. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down tonight. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we're gonna light it up tonight. We're gonna light it up tonight. We're gonna light it up just like the sunrise. We're gonna light it up. Just like the street lights lit this town, like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down. Can't be afraid to leave this out. We got this far, don't know how. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down tonight. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we're gonna light it up tonight. We're gonna light it up tonight. We're gonna light it up just like the sunrise. We're gonna light it up.
Hello. Welcome live, answering your heating and air questions, all that good stuff. Just getting my camera straight here. Oh, hello. Welcome to the HVAC Guide for Homeowners YouTube channel live show where we talk about all things HVAC, giving you tips I'd give to my own mom. We will be answering some of your questions live. Sometimes we are joined by other pros in the chat who might know answers to questions that I don't. And finally, we have breakout segments where we go over funny clips, industry news, and goofy inventions. Before we get to the show, started with tonight's astonishing story in the news, let's take a moment to pay the bills and thank the sponsor for the show. I wanted to take a quick break from the video and thank the sponsor of this video, AeroSeal. Leaky ductwork is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, energy wasters in most homes in the United States. And my favorite way of fixing that problem is AeroSeal. They'll come into your home, they'll test your ductwork and how leaky it is, they'll seal all the ductwork with a machine, and then they'll test it again and make sure that you got what you paid for. Customers have reported a significant savings on their energy bills after using AeroSeal. I'll put a link down in the description of this video. Thanks again to AeroSeal, and now let's get back to the video. So I'd like to start tonight's show off with a crazy story coming out of Long Island. It says an HVAC contractor stiffs North Bellport homeowner out of $4,000. Police say the owner of a Long Island HVAC company is accused of taking homeowners' money and running. I wonder, is that a picture of the unit? It says the owner of Medford HVAC is accused of taking the homeowner's money and running. I wonder if that's just a generic picture, that they pulled online, or if that's actually a picture of the AC. Francis, let's see, is this the same story? Is there something else? Yeah, the same story. Francis Warner, age 41 of Brentwood, was arrested Tuesday, November 21st, according to Suffolk County Police. Warner owns Warner Brothers Air Max HVAC based in Medford. A North Bellport man told police he hired Warner in October of 2023 to do HVAC work on his home and had paid Warner $3,850. And so the police went and arrested this guy. I don't even know that I've ever... I know we've talked about some other stories on our show where the police got involved and things like that. But I mean, that's I don't know that I've ever actually heard that. In fact, and we've talked about on some stories where the police don't get involved, where they'll say, well, that's a civil matter. You need to take them to court. Despite receiving payment, Warner never returned to complete the job, police said. Warner was arrested Tuesday morning during a traffic stop in Brentwood. He is charged with 1-count third-degree grand larceny and is expected to be arraigned in Central, I'm probably not going to say that word right, Islip? Central Islip? Islip, maybe? Islip? Is that S silent? On Wednesday, November 22nd. So this happened just a few months ago. Detectives are asking anyone who maybe have been a victim of Warner to contact the police. Warner's business has received several negative reviews on Yelp and Google, and it holds a 1-star rating with the Better Business Bureau. At least 2 Google reviewers shared similar stories claiming that Warner eventually stopped responding altogether. I think the thing is crazy about all this is we've talked about this sort of stuff before, but I don't know that I've ever. We've talked about how maybe the police should be more involved. That it's not always a civil matter when someone's technically stealing. But I will say this, and I really mean this in a genuine way. I think that homeowners need to be looked out for, but at the same time, I would hate for them to just run around every time a homeowner says, "Oh, they didn't do me right," and start handcuffing guys, right? I mean, that would be scary for folks in the trade too, so hopefully the police made sure that everything was what the homeowner said it was. Sounds like he was bad news bears if all these other things are true, but pronounce I slip. Got it. Hey, Ray from Long Island. He says that he's one town over. So glad you're here, man. You're keeping me straight. And I'm probably not even saying your name right. Is it Ray or is it Ree? Or is it something else? Rye. I mean, who knows? It's just the way I am. I don't say a lot of things correctly. Half of the folks here make fun of me. Steve says, hello. Hey. I know no answers. You liar. You're smarter than me. This makes all of us look bad and sad. I agree. Stories like this doesn't do any favors for those of us that are. What it does is I genuinely think, whether people know it consciously or not, it automatically builds those walls a little higher. When we're in someone's home, we're trying to talk to them and maybe explain the situation, maybe even give them some options and how much those options are going to cost. And those walls are built higher and higher and higher. I feel like a lot of folks in sales in general, whether it's HVAC or cars or whatever, right? If you're selling a pen, part of the skill of sales, I guess, is trying to get folks to, lower those walls a little bit and understand that maybe you're not one of the bad news ones. I slipped today on a slick roof. Are you okay, pal? You're here with us, but that is not good. Hopefully you stayed on the roof when you slipped. I know you do a lot of commercial stuff, so hopefully it was a flat roof or something like that. But yeah, be careful out there. You got it right. It's Ray, just spelled Ray. Ray. Okay, awesome. Welcome to the show. I'm not sure I've ever seen your name on our show before, and if you have, I apologize, but either way, welcome. I do want to go ahead and promote a couple things, and maybe I'll promote them again later in the show if the numbers go up or down or whatever. It seems like we've got a new crowd. The first thing is, a week from today, I don't see Ryan's name, but any of you that have joined us before, Ryan, if you're here, let me know you're here, buddy. I have a surprise. Ryan has been asking me to have one specific guest on my show for a long time now, for months. I mean, it's been a while that he's been raising this name, and we're going to have him on our show next week. So I'm not going to share who that is unless Ryan says he's here. The rest of you will just have to wait until the show gets promoted. And the way I do it is usually after every live show, I'll usually go ahead and put everything in for the next week's live show. So it'll pop up on our channel and all that good stuff. You'll see who it is and all that. But if Ryan's here, I'll go ahead and share who it is and all that good stuff. I slipped. But yeah, so I'm excited about that. Next week, having a guest that he's a smart guy. He knows the trade very well, and I'm excited to have him on our show. He looks at a lot of things the way I do, and some things maybe not the same way, right? I mean, we don't all see everything the same, but I'm excited to have him on the show. So Ryan, if you're here or you pop on later, let me know, and I'll share who that guest is. The other thing I want to go ahead and promote is what was the other thing? I'm drawing a blank all of a sudden. Oh, so I have another controversial topic that we're going to be going over. Those of you that follow us a little bit know that on Saturday mornings, I sometimes do special episodes where I kind of, rant a little bit and call some folks out in our trade. And so this Saturday, if schedule allows and the stars align, then I'll be doing that, and I'm going to be talking about these 2 refrigerants that are coming to the residential market. We've got some going with one, some going with the other, and there's one of them that I think there's some must knows. There's some things that you need to know, and we're going to be sharing that come this Saturday. I think that there's going to be some hurt feelings after that show. So it's not my goal to create enemies, but when folks are spreading misinformation in our industry, they don't like me because I'm gonna call them out and set them straight, right? It's easy being a tough guy when I'm on the internet, right? 94, welcome to the show, says, what basic tools do you recommend for beginners? I'm about to finish my training by November. Must haves. Ooh, Steve, that might be a good question for you. 94, are you going to be going into residential, or are you going to be doing commercial? Or not that it matters a whole lot, but it might be good to know. Are you going to be, doing some tin knocking and some duct type work, or are you going to be, working for a big company, small company? Give us the ins and outs of what you're going to be doing, if you know at this point. I think that there's probably a handful of tools that I think that every technician, even a helper starting out, should probably have. Steve hit the big one, right? I really think that almost everyone should have, even if it's a cheap one, have a meter. I can't tell you how many times I've been on job sites where a guy says, let's say you go to a small company and your boss says the power's off. I wouldn't take his word on it just because he's your boss. You should have your own meter. You should be checking, making sure things are off before you do certain things. It's a huge safety hazard, and a meter is a good start. You can get a decent meter. I mean, depending on what your definition of decent, but you can get a meter that's going to do the job, especially in residential for the most part. It's not going to be the best. It's not going to be true RMS, maybe not, but it's going to, let you know if there's a problem. It's safety. It's going to do continuity and a lot of the other things that you need to do. And you can get those for less than $100. So I prefer commercial, but I won't mind residential. I'm trying to avoid really expensive tools until I get more experience. Makes sense. I would say if you're that Steve's right though, I would say definitely get you a meter somewhere soon. But I don't know. Let's see, Steve, let's see if we can run through a few of them. I think that I'm just going to go through my tool bag and just in my brain and the tools that I seem to pull out the most when I'm doing things. I think that the guy that I learned under was very adamant that you need to have some channel locks, some good channel locks. And he was always adamant that it needed to be channel lock brand. I don't know that it has to be channel lock brand, but I definitely would avoid cheap, tongue and groove pliers, the ones that have the little nut, the cheap ones. I would say, if you're going to get them, I would say, if you're going to invest in them, some of these tools are going to last almost your entire career as long as you don't lose them or they get stolen, right? And so I would definitely, not skimp on some of those, right? Steve says most of the expensive major tools, vacuum pumps and recovery machines are typically provided in my area. Same here. So at least at my company we did. I can't speak for all companies in this area, but for example, when I sold my company recently, the company that I sold to, they do not provide gauges to their guys, which is fine. But we did at my company. Now, we didn't offer expensive ones. I did have a couple employees that wanted their own digital ones that one of them almost had me talked into providing those. And then he had his own digital ones and they got rained on and it ruined them. And that sealed it for me. But I think a good technician should understand how to do things with an analog gauge anyway. Maybe if it's not what you use on the regular, you should understand what you're working on and understand the math and understand, I think I heard it today. I was listening to a podcast and they were talking about P&T charts and understanding that even though your digital, gauges could probably do a lot of the math for you, you should still know how to do it and understand where they're getting those formulas and stuff from. I've got some commercial content and a list of great HVAC channels on mine if interested. Yeah. There's some guys that are way smarter than me doing this, and they do heating and air videos for other heating and air guys, right? That's what I always say. I do heating and air videos for mom. If mom's going to buy a heating and air system, this is what I would tell her. That's how I've always looked at it. So yeah. Let's see. I wanted to well, before we get to that, let's go ahead and do tonight's question for you. Tonight's question for you is there's these programs across the nation that a lot of utility companies are offering. And my question tonight is, have you ever participated in any of the energy saving programs offered by your utility company? Let me know in the chat. Have you done any of that? What was the program? What were your thoughts? Have you avoided them for any reason? It's something that they have in my area to an extent, and we'll talk about the ins and outs of that in just a moment. 94 says, thanks guys, I appreciate the information and suggestions. I'm definitely going to check out everything HVAC. Or let's see, I have sent homeowner friends to your channel. Thanks Steve, appreciate that. 94, I think, let me see if I think there's a now I know you said you want to buy a little bit at a time just starting out, but I think there's some kits out there. Let me make sure before I say that. See if I can find it. There's kits that you can get sometimes that they're not everything, but they're a good start, and depending on where you end up, if you end up at a good company, I can tell you that when I had guys come to our company, I was always impressed if they already had, if they already kind of had a start, they were already starting to invest in their tools and so on. Here you go. Yeah, see, these might be expensive, so I don't know if this is good or not, but I'll put it in the chat in case you want to at least look at it. So it kind of gives you an idea. But and True Tech Tools is not the only one that offers this sort of stuff. But True Tech Tools is not a sponsor of my channel. They've sponsored some other YouTube channels, but they have not sponsored any of our content. I just think that their website's pretty good, and check out those kits that they have there. I think that starter kit right there is pretty good. It's got a flaring tool, wire strippers, a manometer, of course, a meter. refrigerant probes. They've actually probably got some things on there that I don't necessarily think that you need right away starting out, such as a tubing bender. That was also something that we would offer at my company. We just, the guys, I had a specific way of how I liked doing things. And so I would just buy them the tools to do it the way I liked it being done. Right. So that looks like some sort of, two-handle deal, like a big pair of, I don't know, snippers or something, tubing benders. We always use the hydraulic ones at my company. Steve says, but the only place to, but don't sponsor me either, but great service and promo codes for 8% off. Do you have a promo code, Steve? Feel free to share that. You're not going to bother me. Again, they don't sponsor me, and I don't even have a promo code, but feel free to drop that promo code in the chat if it helps you. I know a lot of guys, that's where they get their stuff from. And that, of course, Jim, the guy that started that website, he's a pretty knowledgeable fellow. A lot of folks in our industry know him, and we've had him on our channel before. So, great place to buy, no promo here. Okay. Gotcha. Maybe, I'm sure if you could probably Google it and get a promo code, so nobody said anything about the energy saving programs. We have those in our area, and some of them are good programs. Some of them will be like, if you install a system that meets these requirements, we'll give you a rebate. Some of our customers, years ago, one of the programs, they were able to kind of upgrade. They were able to go, I think back then the minimum was like 13 SEER, and they were able to get into a 15 or 16 SEER for almost the same price because of the rebates. And some of it, was good, actual legit value there, right? It didn't affect the contractor's price. A lot of people will say, oh, rebates, and then they'll, jack up their price just to give you that $1,000 rebate, right? But instead, this was separate, and you could actually get some value there. But the reason I even brought that question up is, in our area, the utility company has started this thing where they're also attaching to certain thermostats. So years ago, let me back up a little bit. Years ago, they used to mount these boxes, right? They would mount these boxes about the outdoor unit, and the box would control the outdoor unit. And it could, on a peak day in the middle of summer, it could shut your AC down. In fact, I remember getting service calls on it. We would get a call saying, I don't have AC. It's really hot in here. We would go out there and find out that the power company had, affected it. And Neil says Steve is on fire tonight. I agree. But so now, fast forward to today, I don't know if they're still doing the boxes, but instead, another thing they're doing is they're actually you get a smart thermostat, mounted, installed with your system, and then you connect it to the utility company in one way or another, and they're able to control it that way. And we actually had a customer that we had installed a brand new system for. Lady was mad as a hornet at us. The backup heat would not turn on. It was like a super cold night, and it happened 2 nights. And, she was one of those, how homeowners get, right? They're like, hey, I want this thing out of here. I paid all this money and it's not doing what it's supposed to. And I'm tired of being cold. I didn't blame her. I was like, I bet you are cold. It was really cold last night. And, come to find out, the utility company was stopping her second stage heat from turning on through the thermostat. They were able to control that. And we figured that out and jerked those suckers off of there. I put in a couple Honeywell 8000s. She still had Wi-Fi, could still control it from an app, and got it off of there. It was a big pain in the butt. Emery says, hey, Josh, I forgot I asked this, but does Daikin sponsor your channel? Yes, they have sponsored a lot of our content. They're not tonight's sponsor of tonight's show, but they have sponsored some of our content. Mr. Tong. I'm probably not saying that right. Mr. Tong. Welcome to the show. Ryan, if you're here, say hello, man. I got a great guest coming next week, and it's the guest that you've been wanting. So let me know if you're here. Let's see. Let's go to our next segment of tonight and show a crazy clip. All right, tonight's crazy clip, bear with me. I'm trying to get it to upload here. It does not want to load. Bear with me. Okay. So this is a video that, let's see, share tab. This is a video that Fluke sent out, and it's visual leak detection. It's this device that they can see leaks. Steve, have you used anything like this before? I have not. It says now you can detect compressed air, gas, or vacuum leaks with even a greater sensitivity or from a farther distance. So unlike some of the, the different leak detectors, especially refrigerant detectors, this is able to detect things almost with, and I don't really understand the science behind it, but it's able to see it. I guess it's not technically the temperature, so it's not seeing it that way, but somehow sonic industrial imager. Let's see. Let me see if I can get the sound on here.
Scanning for leaks faster, simpler, and kind of cool. Now you can quickly find leaks and get on with the rest of your day. When we spoke to people who use compressed air, gas, or vacuum in their facilities, we often heard that the methods available for detecting and locating leaks were time-intensive, tedious, and quite frankly, no fun at all. So we created a better way. The Fluke II900 Sonic Industrial Imager uses groundbreaking technology to visualize sound, making scanning for leaks faster, simpler, and kind of cool. Now you can quickly find leaks and get on with the rest of your day.
So yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. I don't know if it would work for refrigerant. It did not specifically say refrigerant, but whatever that technology is that shows them that image, shine that on my wife. It might, it may detect refrigerant leaks. However it works is pretty cool. If nothing else, maybe it would detect things like carbon monoxide leaks in the flue vent based on that little video there. Leak detection isn't as hard as everyone makes it. The larger the system, the more difficult, obviously. Yeah, I don't know. I agree with you, but I've had some little mini splits that I'm like, just add some stinking dye to that thing, because I am tired of struggling here. Gary says, good evening, Josh and friends. I'm a little bit late to the party. Come on, Gary. Come on, man. Fashionably late. I'm waiting on Ryan to get here so I can tell him about our great guest that we're having next week. Ryan has been pushing for a specific guest for weeks. The flare is leaking. In a lot of cases it is, but I had one guy, whenever he would put it in, if we had an issue, I knew that he wasn't the problem. But yeah, it's usually installer, right? Installer error. I learned something this last week. So in this new position of mine where I'm learning and I'm training others, which I'm going to get to that in just a moment, because I did teach my first class today ever, my first ever class. And I had a lot of fun doing it. Some really cool people in that class. There was a lady in there that was in our trade that was a smart cookie. And she was asking some questions that I was like, I don't know. Stop asking. you were making me think here, but had a lot of fun with that. But because of this new position, Steve, you are welcome in one of my classes anytime, pal. The one of the things I did last week was I sat through some training on, learning some of this stuff. And I learned, and some of you pros might already knew this, but I guess I never really ran into it. And that is how a lot of the mini splits, especially Daikin mini splits, energize the reversing valve in heating, which is, those of you that do residential, that is, if it's a split system, just regular unitary split system, the reversing valves for most brands are energized in cooling. There are a handful of brands that energize in heating, but I just thought that was interesting. Just a little tidbit, a little trivia for you tonight. Once my tax money rolls in, I'm going to spoil myself a bit. I hope you're talking about heating and air 94. I don't even want to ask. What are you going to spoil yourself with? I just don't even want to ask. But yeah, so I did teach my first class today. It was I learned probably more about myself than I did the content. I learned some things about, I learned that I'm a fast talker when it comes to teaching some of these things. So instead of taking a moment on a particular topic or a slide in the presentation, I'm like, oh, boom, 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 I'm moving on. And because of that, we turned a 3-hour class into, we probably could have gotten out of there in about an hour and 45, but luckily some questions started rolling in and we were able to kind of stretch it out a little bit. You guys that are pros in here, have you ever had to teach anything or teach classes? I never seem to have a problem with it with my own employees, but now in this new position, I've got a few things to learn, I feel like, and it could have been just nerves. Maybe I was just rolling through stuff and I just need to slow down. But yeah, it was interesting. I've got some things to work on there for sure. Steve says, go slow, 94, get the basics, then see what you actually need. The class that I was teaching today was on A2L refrigerants. So then all the new stuff coming out, and some of the stuff I'm going to go over in this show that we're going to do on Saturday, the two refrigerants and how, they're arguing basically on which one's better. I don't know if they're actually arguing themselves. I don't know that Train and Carrier are arguing with Daikin over it, but a lot of guys out in the industry, those of us out in the field and working on this stuff, there's been a little bit of an argument about it. And so that was a little bit of, I'll be honest, in the class, I did get on my soapbox for a minute today. And that's part of what I'm going to planning to do this Saturday is get on my soapbox for a minute and share some things with you guys that I think is really important, whether you're a pro or a homeowner. I'm really going to take some folks to bat on that. There's some things some misinformation out there, and it's a little annoying at times. Let's see. I'm going. I would be honored to have any of you in my class, though. If any of you are, I know Gary's in Virginia. Any of you that are in, I think it's Gary. Is it Gary or who's the guy? I think it's Gary that's in Virginia. But anyway, yeah, I'm teaching classes here, and we're doing classes in Virginia Beach and Newport News. So I'm going to start with a bag. So yeah, let's see. Let's move on to, let's see. Let's go to our next segment for the night. And here is tonight's goofy invention. Those of you that, some of you like this segment, and I like it too. So here's tonight's goofy invention. Tonight's goofy invention is one that I think has been long overdue, and that is those of us that we've always, especially if you're in the trade and you're installing ductwork and vents and things like that. Gary's the one in Massachusetts. Why am I drawing a blank? One of our guys that joins us from time to time is right here in Virginia in Mechanicsville, but for some reason I'm drawing a blank. Who are you teaching for? So it's the company I work for. I work for one of the Johnstone distributors now. So I'm teaching classes through them to the contractors that buy from them. But anyway, tonight's goofy invention is something that, we've always avoided if you're a ductwork guy. And so my invention tonight is a vent for the shower. So if you were to get in the shower, you could have your own vent in there. And the first question that someone might ask is, well, Josh, you can't do that. It's going to rust out. And so hear me out. This invention would have a plastic. Everything would be plastic. The ductwork would be plastic. The vent would be plastic. And let's see, I'm actually Googling shower vent. Let's see if anything pops up here. This is mostly like exhaust. This is like the vent for the plumbing, right? Or up here's actually like exhaust fans for the bathroom. But I mean like an actual HVAC vent. We've always, avoided the shower. You always want to kind of put your vent as far away from the shower. A lot of times bathrooms, we would almost have to kind of break the rules, right? You would have to, when you're laying out your ductwork and you would install it near a window or a door or as far away from the return, a lot of times we would get to our bathrooms and we would have to kind of break those rules. Here's a picture of an exhaust fan in the shower. So, they weren't scared to do that. Which most exhaust fans are going to be, pretty close anyway, right? I think in my bathroom, it's not directly above the shower, but it's pretty close in the ceiling. But a lot of these are smack dab above the shower head. So that's interesting. So they weren't afraid to do that. The steam and all that didn't scare them away on that. Here's a metal vent of some type, exhaust fan possibly above the shower. That's metal. Probably not a good idea. But, I was thinking of, for a goofy invention, this looks like a fake vent. They wanted you to feel like you were getting good cool air while you're in the shower. But you can see right in there and see that there's tile back there. Wonder why they did that. What kind of silliness there? Maybe that was in an apartment and the landlord was trying to make the tenant happy. So he just slapped a vent up there. But yeah, I think that in today's day and age, there are technologies of being able to install ductwork of different materials, such as plastic. I actually think that it's something it was actually a goofy invention we talked about one other time on a larger scale, right? But we already have ductwork today where folks will, if they're running, if they're pouring concrete, and they want ductwork in there, they can install similar to PVC ductwork in there. But, having something that, a plastic duct, plastic register that would run to that shower. And, I don't know. There's probably an argument to be made for, you're in a nice hot shower and maybe you don't want cool air blowing right on you. But, I don't know. It's just something that I thought of, when I was coming up with some of these goofy inventions. Any of you guys got any goofy inventions? It's one of the things that I've always tried to do in our show and, just kind of break things up. And, I kind of wonder if, you know, I'm sure there's some better ideas out there. Somebody sewed sleeves to a blanket and called it a Snuggie, and and now that person is a multimillionaire. So no invention is too goofy. I don't think. I don't think. I'm teaching my second class tomorrow at a different location. So it's actually going to be the same content, same class, but it'll be a different crowd, different area, different store for the company. And, I'm hoping that it goes a little better. I felt like for it to be my first class ever though, today, it still went pretty good, and there was some good folks in there, people kind of conversing back and forth, good questions. They stumped me a couple times, which is not hard to do. And it was a good time, good class. And we're going to talk about some of the issues with some of these refrigerants this Friday. Anywho, Ryan, you here yet? I'm still waiting on Ryan to pop in here so I can tell him about next week's guest. It'll be a good time. I've actually been following this guy that we're going to have on next week for a while, and I think it'll be a good time having him on. Anyway, anybody got any questions or topics? Feel free to throw them at me. If not, we're going to probably wrap up a little early tonight. My wife has been sick, and she's a trooper, even despite being sick. But once I get home, I usually try to help out. We have a 3-year-old, so I'll usually take over mommy duty, daddy duty, and but I had to come up here and do the show, and so, we might be wrapping up a little early and getting to that. Anyway, I'll throw this question out there as well. If any of you are here and care, what is a topic that you would want a class on? Maybe that can help me with an upcoming class. Right now, we've got the ones I've got in the chamber, if you will, I've got the A2L class that we've been doing. I've got a thermostat and basic low voltage class that we're doing Thursday. And then I'm currently working on a class on just basic meter reading and using a meter, how to use it, what are all the things it can do, testing, continuity, resistance, amp draw, voltage, DC, AC, all the different things it can do, capacitance, diodes, all the different things that those of us that are in the heating and air industry do with a meter. So I'm working on a class on that as well. But the A2L class I think I got spoiled because as soon as that came out, it's a hot topic right now. It's a big deal in our industry, and we were able to fill that class up pretty quick. So in fact, we've not just a class, we've filled up 11 classes so far on that topic alone. So pretty cool. And most of these classes are holding, anywhere from 15 to 20 people. So, that's a lot of folks, a lot of technicians filtering in and out. Which is, a lot of fun there. Anywho, we are going to go ahead and land this plane here in just a moment. If you know a good heating and air company, or I'll go ahead and open it up. If you know a good heating and air, plumbing, or electric company in this country, feel free to show them some love. Drop the name of that company and where they're located in the chat section. There's so many bad ones out there. It's always good to show love to the good ones. And you never know when someone in your area might just happen to see your comment, and you can show that company some real love by sending some business their way. So feel free to drop those companies in the chat and where they're located. And I will end with this. I know Ryan is still probably not here with us, but next week we will be having a really cool guest. I'm excited to have him. I've been following him and his content here on YouTube for a couple of years now. And he said he didn't know who I was. So didn't surprise me. I'm no big deal, but he does now. And he said some kind words, which was nice. So 94 says, my class has 27 students. I'm all the way in California. Wow. Where in California are you? Just curious. And I'll tell you, 27 students, I feel like that's like, for me, that would be too many. For, we were bursting at the seams today, and we had 19 or 20 in there. So with this classroom, it's kind of long and skinny, and I'm having to yell to the very back to some of these guys. It's 3 people to a table. And I don't know, we might come up with something better in the future if things go well and we keep teaching classes and we grow this thing. That's kind of the goal here. Gary says, A+ HVAC. I called them last month to let them know that Mitsubishi system is still running great. They appreciated that call. Awesome, man. It sounds like you found a good one. And it's always a lot of these companies, they get so many bad calls. It's probably nice to get a good call from time to time, right? Hey, I'm calling you just to say it's running well. I just wanted to call and tell you that. They probably rarely get those calls, Gary. So they were probably happy they probably put a couple stars by your name and said, take care of this guy and their CRM on their end, right? Good enough. All right. Well, Saturday morning, we're going to be doing a show. I'm going to get on my soapbox. I'm going to go on a rant on a few topics about this whole thing with all these different refrigerants that are coming out, replacing 410A. I think it's a hot topic. There's things that homeowners and pros, but homeowners especially need to know. I've been surprised at how many pros don't know some of this stuff yet. And think that's probably why there's a place for these classes that I'm doing, but homeowners need to know this stuff too. 94 says it does seem like too many, but the instructor does a good job going around to everyone. I'm 30 minutes south of Fresno. Okay, awesome. Yeah, I think that's the thing, right? So normally in a lot of classrooms, you'll have those, 4 to 8 guys or so that are really involved, and they're usually sitting up front. And then the rest of everybody else is just kind of sitting in the back of the class. And, there's going to be a few, no matter how hard you try, that they just don't care anyway. Right. There ain't going to be so much looking over the shoulder that they're going to be willing to do, being behind someone else. But our hands-on classes, we're pretty much capping those at 10 to 12 people. I think if we get more than that, we're just wasting folks' time at that point. But 27, man, if you got a teacher that's still delivering the goods and you're getting something out of it with 27 other students, kudos to him and kudos to you. Shinobi says, I thought HVAC guys were supposed to be used to long, skinny places. Bob says, I'm having problems making comments. Don't know what is happening. I'm sorry, Bob. I don't know, pal. With that one came through, so that's good. So anyway, good enough. Well, we're going to go ahead and wrap up with that. Thank you guys. I appreciate the support. I think that as we get closer to, we're now in March, but by the end, I would say this point of next month, well into April, our numbers should be much higher because let's be honest, when those air conditioners start breaking, people start to care a whole lot more about heating and air than they normally do. So our numbers always get higher in the summer, and it's kind of one of the interesting, fun things about it. That when the summer gets here, it's craziness, but in a good way. So other than that, y'all have a great night. I appreciate it. We'll see you next Tuesday with a special guest next Tuesday night at 8:30 Eastern. Find out what that time is in your zone. And in the meantime, make it a great week. Take care.